Good evening and welcome to the Writer's Block. I'm your host, John Ronan, and as you know now, because we're kicking off our 26th year, I interview poets about their craft. Sometimes other artists, but if we can get them, poets. I ask them what they've accomplished in the past, what they're working on, what they plan for the future. We also have, as I mentioned, other kinds of artists. We've had on journalists, novelists, musicians, even one magician, and other brands of artists. It's a pretty wide net. So if you have ideas for a guest who might be right for the Writer's Block, please watch for our address at the end of the program. I'd also like to remind you that the Writer's Block and the other many original productions that come out of Cape Ann TV are a service of cable access television. I almost said web. We don't want anything to do with the web. Cable access television. And you don't get that wonderful community service from Dish. So watch us and don't pay attention to those commercials. Tonight, I'm very happy to say, for our kickoff program in the 26th year, the youngster poets, I should say student poets, who won the Poetry Without Paper competition last spring, that's spring of 2015, at the Sawyer Free Library in 3 categories: elementary, middle school, and high school. We're going to talk to all of those winners this evening. Welcome to the Writer's Block Elementary Winner Poets. We have, to start out with, Calvin Del Vecchio, George King, and Charles King. Charles and George are sharing equally the first and second slot, and Calvin won the third slot in the competition for elementary poets. And I've read all of your poems, and they're excellent. I want to start with our interview and ask Calvin, who started you on poetry?
So, really, I just started in kindergarten when I wrote my first poem for the Poetry Without Paper contest.
Oh, so you've been in the contest before?
And I didn't win until this year, but the teacher who really got me started on writing is my 4th grade writing teacher, Miss Donovan.
Miss Donovan?
Yes.
Let's hear it for Miss Donovan, okay? Teachers. And so you've been writing since kindergarten?
Yes. I also read a lot, and that's where some of my writing comes from.
Tell us something you've read recently.
I've read the Secret series.
The what series?
The Secret series.
Is that good?
Yeah, it was very good. Yes, I would definitely recommend it.
The Secret series?
Yes.
And what grade are you in?
I'm in 6th.
6th? You're starting 6th?
Yeah.
And so when you won, you were in 5th grade
Yes.
last year. Now, do you ever happen to watch television at all?
I don't usually watch shows, but I do watch movies.
You do? Can you recommend a movie?
I would recommend How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep.
Is that good?
Yeah,
I'm getting nods here. I think there's some agreement here. I'll have to try that. I want to ask the next elementary poet, George King. Who started you on poetry, George?
Well, like as a poet or a teacher?
Well, either.
Well, my first really inspirational writing teacher, like for writing, not as a really good teacher, was the same 4th grade teacher Calvin mentioned, Miss Donovan.
Miss Donovan.
But I also had another 4th grade teacher, Miss Flaherty, and she was also really good.
Miss Donovan again and Miss Flaherty. Let's teachers deserve a lot of credit, so I'm glad you mentioned both of those teachers. And do you read?
Yes.
George King. What do you read?
I've read all the Percy Jackson books, all the King Chronicle books, all the Harry Potter books.
Those are long books.
Yeah, but I also read all Brandon Mull's series, like Fablehaven,
And,
Beyonders.
I read Beyonders, it's good.
Yeah, and I read all the Charlie Bone books, all the Belgariad books. I read some of the Kingdom Keepers, but I didn't finish the last one.
You should, it's good. I read it a while ago.
Tell me if you ever watch, I can't imagine you have time to watch TV, but do you ever watch TV?
I don't watch that much TV, but I do watch sports like soccer and basketball and football.
Do you watch Writer's Block? Oh, you waited too long on that one. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm glad that you're reading a lot, and I'm glad that you're recognizing teachers who got you started in poetry. Charles King, tell me about your first poetry inspiration, person or poem.
I started writing poetry in kindergarten, and I kind of taught myself, but a lot of teachers helped me along with that. Like, starting with my kindergarten and first grade teacher, Miss Jacobson, Miss Corey helped me, Miss Kenny helped me, and then Miss Donovan really helped me a lot.
So you mentioned 4 teachers there altogether?
Yeah.
Would you repeat their names?
Miss Jacobson, Miss Corey, Miss Donovan, and Miss Kenny.
Wow, let's hear it for them. And you were, all 3, you were at O'Malley still?
Yes.
You're all
Yes.
at O'Malley?
And we all went to the same,
Elementary school. East
Yeah.
Class.
The same class?
well, not the
Sometimes.
same class, but,
'Cause they have 2
well,
different
yeah,
classes.
sometimes the same class, but always the same school.
I'm going to go in the other direction now. I'm going to ask Charles to read your winning poem from the
Okay.
Poetry Without Paper contest.
My poem's called Fireworks. Big explosions in the sky, a matchstick's all it needs to fly, up into its burning flight, up to the sky in the quiet night. The sky a cloak of midnight black, it flies along its careful track, then explodes in colors bright, up in the sky in the quiet night. The ashes fall right to the ground, falling softly without a sound. A couple of sparks still burn bright, and there's the sky in the quiet night. All rockets gone, but you still gaze, so long that your eyes glaze. There seems to be a sacred light that keeps you looking at the sky in the night.
Very good. Thank you very much. Now I want to go to Charles's brother, George, and ask him to read his poem from last spring.
It's called Blank Slate.
Say that again, please.
It's called Blank Slate. A blank page erased whiteboard, inspiring, beckoning for thoughts. A new idea, forever captured in writing. An idea. While you will not live, your ideas live on. A new idea for everyone to use and honor. An idea can make a dream or destroy one. Like knowledge, ideas have power. Ideas make life. An idea has a purpose. Your ideas are your monuments. Treasure them. New thoughts, fresh starts. Means something. A second chance to produce an idea. Old ideas don't always last. They are burnt, thrown out, which can be good. It gives space for new ideas from the next generation. But sometimes old ideas are priceless. With ideas, everyone has a chance. An idea is special. It can take a month or years. Old ideas evolve into new, better ideas. And you don't have to leave ideas to scientists. You can have your own at home. A new idea may be good or bad, but if you try, your idea can be whatever. An idea doesn't have to be known to be respected. It does not have to be complete. Other people can open it up, discover more. Your idea, when told to others, is not yours anymore. An idea is like an electrical charge or a time bomb ready to explode. When your idea explodes, you have changed the world. Your ideas, my ideas work in harmony. My idea can take your idea further. Ideas can be anything, change anything. Built on ideas, the world becomes better. Your idea can be one of those. An idea with purpose is the best idea of all. But an idea with hard work behind it has its own amazing journey. A person's idea doesn't have to be famous to gain its own kind of fame. An idea doesn't have to be widely used. Even if only one person likes it, it has a place in the world. And if nobody likes it, you can create another. A new idea may be just what the world needs.
Thank you very much. Thank you much, George King. And now we'll turn to Calvin Delvecchio for her poem.
I'm a boy, actually.
Excuse me, his poem.
Compared to these guys' poems, mine is very short. It's called The Sun.
I'm sorry, what is it again, Calvin?
The Sun.
Sun, thank you.
The sun is the fire, the sun is the light, the sun is the power that cuts through the night. The sun is the blaze, the sun is the day, the sun is the glowing of a fiery ray. The sun is the burn, the sun is the spark, the sun is the brightness that dispels the dark.
Thank you very much. Excellent. I want to thank all 3 of you. And I want to comment that you all seem very talented and very mature for your age. and I think you probably
Thanks,
have
yeah.
great futures. So we're going to buzz along here. Would you take the mic off? And then I'm going to ask the middle school winners, Mila, Willa, and Ruby, to come up and sit in the chairs that Calvin and George and Charles are vacating. So if you three would sit and put the mics up on your lapel somewhere, we've checked them, so they shouldn't need a new test. Good. Now I want to make sure I know who is who. Mila, and Willa, and Ruby. Oh, good, in order, wonderful. I'm going to start in this direction first. Mila, would you tell me who inspired you in your writing career, your poetry career?
I'm not sure exactly if there's like one person that I can name that inspired me. I think mostly just like reading inspired me to write.
Reading poets or
Just reading in general.
reading anything?
Yeah.
Give us an author that you really liked.
That's a hard one. I liked a lot of authors. I really liked The Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson that I read this year. That was really good.
You read that this summer,
Yeah.
past summer, by Woodson, you said?
Yeah.
Woodson, okay, you recommend that.
Yes.
All right. Now, here's the tough question. Do you ever watch television?
Yeah, sometimes. We watch like Disney Channel, PBS. Like it just changes around whatever I'm feeling like I want to watch.
And, of course, you watch the Writer's Block, right? I knew it. I didn't even have to ask that. I knew that. Tell me, besides writing and reading, what else you do that fits outside of school? What do you do besides school?
Well, I like to play soccer a lot for, like, a sport.
Are you glad that there's more and more soccer on, MLS?
I don't really watch a lot of soccer,
No?
actually. I just play.
Oh, it's scary. They're scary good. They're scary good. I've played a little soccer, and I watch a little MLS, and I know that I'm never going to play soccer again. Can you think of a teacher that you have liked in the past?
My third grade teacher, Miss Davis, I think she probably helped me the most with my writing.
Miss Davis, and this was at
East Gloucester Elementary
East
School.
Gloucester. Miss Davis, let's hear it from Miss Davis. Thank you. Now I'm going to turn to Willa Brosnahan. Or did I say that right? Yes, Brosnahan. Tell me who inspired you to write poetry.
Well, probably last year's ELA teacher, Mrs. Hand.
Task? What's her name?
Mrs. Hand.
Hand. Let's hear it from Miss Hand. Yeah, where I forgot to ask, where were you in school, Mila? What school are you in?
Oh, O'Malley.
O'Malley and?
O'Malley.
O'Malley, okay, and you, O'Malley. Tell me what you watch on television, if anything.
I watch Doctor Who.
Doctor Who's been around long enough so that I used to watch Doctor Who. It's been on for decades and decades and decades. Who's playing Doctor Who now?
Peter Capaldi.
Is he good?
Yeah.
I haven't caught it lately. It's still good though. Huh?
Yeah.
Tell me if you watch the Writer's Block, and I know the answer to that. You do. Let me see. So poetry. Okay. Thank you for that. Now I want to go to Ruby Mills and ask you about poetry interest. Where did you start poetry?
My last year's English teacher, Miss Danaher.
Danaher. I know her.
Yeah.
Let's hear it from Miss Danaher. She was at the reception at the library.
Yeah, she was.
And so she inspired you to write poetry?
Yes.
Did she ask you or suggest that you get in the poetry contest?
Yeah, she did actually. It was like required for the whole class, and it was the first poem I've ever written, so I really didn't think it was any good, but then it won third
Well,
place.
that's a
so I
good
was
start.
Like,
That's a good
Yeah.
start. Good start. And do you ever watch television?
Sometimes, yes.
What do you watch?
Right now I'm watching Once Upon a Time.
Is that a PBS series? Or is that,
I don't think so.
oh,
No.
I don't know it, I'm sorry. I'm going to start with you. I'll go in the other direction. Would you read your winning poem for us, please?
It's called Forest. Trees welcome you. Leaves dance in the whistling wind. Green, brown, red, yellow, orange. Sunlit patches leak through the canopy, lighting the ground, a mirror for the petals of the trees. Thick brush makes regular life hush. Serene silence surrounds, suffocates, interrupted by the occasional trickle of a stream, or the curious creatures creeping, crawling. The forest. Deep, dark, dense, eerie silence. For the souls who are lost, confusing. Shadows lurk around sunlit poolings. Treacherous passageways fool the untrained eye. Paths not seen in years lie, full unsuspecting victims to follow them. Not all of those who wander are lost, however. Some adventurous souls choose to wander, to let the forest swallow them whole.
Very nice, thank you. Now, that's right, good idea. And you said that was your very first poem. Where did you get the inspiration for that poem?
Well, me and my family, we go hiking a lot, so I was just thinking of the forest, and, like, that's where I got my idea.
So actually in the forest?
Yes.
You like the forest?
Yes.
It sounds like you love the forest. Now we're going to go to Ms. Bresnahan and ask her to read her winning poem.
It's called The Swarm. It reminds me of cool summer nights, in the aftershock of daytime heat, when the gray flies swarm outside my window. In a tiny, shifting cloud, rippling and crashing like the surface of the sea, with every breeze. They fade into the shadows of clouds like smoke, but reveal themselves in a flurry of movement as a bird flies by. They gather again to discuss the invasion of their cloud. They will continue this confused dance until the day they die, sometime in mid-August.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to turn to Mila for her winning poem.
My poem's called Living in the Valley Green. For a lifetime, I throve there in the brush, living when the sky turned cream, when the rain came tumbling, sliding upon the dirt. I saw those nights of silk whisper and the days sing. Oh, the summers which I did spend there, dancing with the infinite open stars, flying through the gentle moonshine, twirling through the everlasting sun. The world was smiling the whole time, if only I had looked about and saw it. Oh, the winters, snarling pains, forever came snow, and the wind screamed, threatened by a knife. Such terror never leaves. All the time the willows wept and hunched, and with them I cried along. So long, forever is so long. So went the years, whisked away by breezes ever sweet and ever gentle. Far too many memories rolled like leaves upon that tinkling wind, never blowing back. My life is printed in that valley so green, though the sun has long since sunk beneath the waves.
Thank you very much. Very nice. I really mean this. These are very thoughtful, nice poems. It's wonderful to listen to, and I'm so happy that you're not watching much TV. Although you should watch the Writer's Block. Thank you very much, all three. I'm going to ask you to take the mics off. We're going to buzz along and get to the high school winners, and you can just, drape that, let it fall to the floor, drape it over the arm there. Thank you very much. So would Ms. Emily Ryan and Mr. Spencer Taft please come up, please, and mic yourselves. Now I know who's who here. Emily and Spencer. The third winner from the high school, Josie Thompson, could not be here because she's already away at college, and she emailed me and said she was very sorry, but she'd rather be at college than on the show. And I understand that. I understand that perfectly.
And that's your
So
fault.
we have Emily and Spencer. I'm going to start with my questions with you, Spencer. Who inspired you or started you to be interested in poetry?
Well, I had some inspiration in elementary and middle school, but it didn't really start until high school, I think. I would say that if I were to credit one teacher, I really can't, but two. The combination of Mr. Tells, which was in senior year, and Mr. Cook in junior year and senior year. I ended up getting him for 3 years in a row, which was the best experience ever. Those two are amazing.
Okay, Mr. Tells and Mr. Cook, let's hear it for them. I know both of those gentlemen, and they are good. They're both good teachers and good writers, I think. Now, here's the tough stuff. Do you watch TV? What do you watch?
Believe it or not, hardly ever. I spend a lot of my time playing video games. It's kind of an alternative art form. But when I do watch TV, I generally go for documentary type things. I'm really fascinated by the shows that display parts of the lives of other people that you don't normally get to see, like documentaries about people in prison and documentaries about people who study animals in Antarctica, things like that, being able to get a wider view of the human experience,
Yeah.
really.
Good.
And I also
What do you read?
Lately, I've read a lot of more philosophical things. Like a book that I recommend to everyone that I meet is Feed by M.T. Anderson. That book, I would marry it if I could. That book is unbelievable. And my last summer, I was reading. I'm reading a book called Anil's Ghost by Michael. The last name is really weird, but Ondantie, I believe it's
Oh,
pronounced.
sure.
He's from Sri Lanka, and the book takes place in Sri Lanka with Anil, who is a forensic anthropologist working on a series of murders. And it's books like those that kind of use what I was talking about earlier, like alternative views of life, and uses those as allegories for overall human experiences. And I think that's really important.
Good. It is. I admire your taste in both the documentaries and Odancha. Emily Ryan, who inspired you to write poetry?
I wouldn't say that there was really one person. It's many people throughout my life, but like Spencer said, I started actively writing poetry when I had Jay Cook as a teacher at Gloucester High School last year, and he's really encouraged me to continue in the direction of writing more.
Okay, Mr. Cook again. All right. Tell us about your television and reading habits.
I don't really watch too much television. I also watch Doctor Who. I've been watching it for a couple of years. And reading, I like a little bit of everything. Recently, I've just been reading fantasy. That's what I've grown up on.
Give us an author or a title.
Always J.K. Rowling. She was my childhood with the Harry Potter series.
Have you read all the Harry Potter?
Yes, I have.
Whoa. You're the second person who's mentioned Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
You're a big Doctor Who fan?
Yes.
I almost was, but it always seemed very strange to me. I never could decide if I liked it or I was just amazed at how strange it was. So we have, you both mentioned teachers and both reading and your poetry interests. Now I'd like you to, I'll go in the other direction. Emily, would you read us your winning poem, please?
Of course. Loving in Reverse. And I expected each goodbye to be forgotten eventually. And I dreamed that the rain would fall back into the sky, impregnating the clouds with tears they would never have to shed. That waterfalls would defy gravity, and their foamy cascades would land cushioned by the stars. And the blood splaying through air backwards, being sucked back into the pathways of your brilliant, ingenious mind, filling it reborn with the warm breath of life. That the bullet that penetrated the gates of your skull would recede through its metal chamber back to its cold and lethal bed. And the chemicals ignited would snuff out into packaged manufactured elements waiting for their destruction. And the waltz we did before we rested would be what we awakened to each and every day. Our skin would grow tighter and fuller, and our hearts would ignite to the melody of love. And I expected each goodbye to create the yearning for a new hello.
Thank you very much. Very nice work. Spencer, would you read us your winning poem, please?
Of course. A note for the windshield. I like the smell of gasoline, almost like a metal, yet more organic. You can tell it was expensive to get out of the ground. It smells kind of like money. It doesn't feel so good, though, a light burn like mouthwash on the skin, especially in that open cut on my left thumb that hadn't quite healed yet. Nor does it taste good. I probably shouldn't have used my mouth when I siphoned it from your car. But it's fine. I needed it to get home, and it smelled good. It kind of smelled like money.
Very nice. Very nice. As I mentioned earlier, one high school winner, Josie Thompson, cannot be here because she's away in college. I'm going to read her poem, which is titled True Love Haiku, and it's actually a series of 5 haikus. The heart pumps the blood, churning life through our bodies till we come undone. Words pierce the soft flesh, corrupting the beat within, changing the rhythm. Beating increases temporary happiness, the word love spoken. Beats become empty happiness, sucked from the veins, smiles begin to die. Loneliness settle, sadness fills arteries, the heart pumps the blood. That's Josie Thompson. Now, if our seniors would just stay there for a minute, I'm going to address the camera, and then you can take off the mics and go back to the chairs. I want to thank all of our guest student poets this evening. This is really an inspiring show. It's my happiest half hour of the semester because as a teacher and a poet, it's wonderful to see these young people coming along and hungry for the writing and the reading and not so much the TV. So thank you to them, and thank you to our live audience, the families here, and thank you for being here out in TV land. Without you watching cable, we couldn't continue. So thanks again, and hope to see you again next week on the Writer's Block. Good night.